Have you ever wondered what the worst pandemics in history were? Today, we're embarking on a journey through the annals of our past, uncovering the 10 most devastating pandemics that have swept across our world. We'll delve into their origins, their destructive paths, and the lasting impact they've left behind. These historical events serve not just as reminders of our vulnerability, but also as lessons for the future. So buckle up as we take a trip through time and explore these devastating events. Starting in 1852, the third cholera pandemic originated in India and spread worldwide. A devastating wave of illness, it left its mark across continents, reaching Asia, Europe, North America, and Africa. The disease moved along trade routes and waterways, showing no respect for borders or boundaries. Imagine the terror of the unknown, as communities grappled with the sudden and severe diarrhea and vomiting that are the hallmarks of cholera. Without understanding the cause or to effectively treat it, over 1 million people lost their lives. This wasn't just a health crisis, it was a human tragedy on an enormous scale. The third cholera pandemic lasted until 1860, 8 long years of suffering and loss. Its impact was profound, causing societal disruption and hardship. This pandemic was a stark reminder of how quickly disease can spread and the devastation it can cause. Don't forget to subscribe to my channel for more insights into history. Moving back in time to 1347, we meet the Black Death. This devastating pandemic, also known as the bubonic plague, swept across Europe with a vengeance. It was a silent, invisible killer carried by fleas on black rats that stowed away on merchant ships. It took just 5 years, from 1347 to 1351, for the Black Death to leave its mark. The effects were astounding. Towns and cities were decimated, families torn apart, and societies forever altered. It's estimated that tens of millions of people from all walks of life fell victim to this ruthless disease. That's nearly 60% of Europe's entire population at the time. The Black Death was more than just a pandemic. It was a force that brought about social, economic, and cultural shifts. It challenged the foundations of medieval society and paved the way for the Renaissance. The Black Death was a catastrophic event that changed the course of history. Fast forward to 1889, and the world was hit by a flu pandemic. Alas, the final years of the 19th century were not kind to humanity. This flu pandemic, also known as the Russian flu, had its origin in Asia, and like a wildfire, it spread across the globe. As the pandemic spread, it left in its wake a trail of devastation. Over 1 million people worldwide fell victim to this invisible enemy. The flu showed no mercy, affecting people of all ages, genders, and social backgrounds. It moved swiftly, taking many by surprise, and within months, it had reached far corners of the world. Despite the advances in medicine during this period, the 1889 flu pandemic proved a sobering reminder of our vulnerability to such health crises. It underscored the need for global cooperation and preparedness in the face of pandemics. This pandemic showed us that even with advances in medicine, we are still vulnerable. In 1918, the Spanish flu made its deadly appearance. This was not a common flu, but a strain of the H1N1 influenza virus that would go on to wreak havoc on a global scale. Unprecedented in its reach, the Spanish flu didn't discriminate, striking down the young and the old, the weak and the strong. Over a third of the world's population fell ill. Entire towns were crippled, households torn apart, and economies shattered. The death toll? An estimated 50 million. That's more than twice the number of casualties from the First World War. The Spanish flu was ruthless, efficient, and incredibly deadly. It was a pandemic that reminded humanity of its fragility in the face of nature's might. A century later, we still study the Spanish flu not just as a historical event, but as a stark warning of the power of infectious diseases. The Spanish flu was one of the deadliest pandemics in human history. In 1957, the world was hit by another flu pandemic, this time originating from East Asia. This was the Asian flu, an influenza pandemic that was caused by the H2N2 virus. The virus was a novel strain, meaning it was new to the human population, and as such, humans had little to no immunity to it. This flu swept across the globe, hitting countries from Asia to Europe, and finally making its way to the United States. It was a swift and brutal pandemic, with the virus infecting millions of people and resulting in the death of at least 1 to 2 million individuals worldwide. The Asian flu was characterized by symptoms such as fever, chills, cough, and body aches. It was particularly lethal among the elderly population, causing a significant increase in death rates among this group. The Asian flu was a harsh reminder of the constant threat of pandemics. Just a decade later, in 1968, the Hong Kong flu made its mark. This pandemic was caused by the H3N2 virus, a pathogen that swiftly circumnavigated the globe. This was not a mild illness, but rather a deadly adversary that claimed the lives of approximately 1 to 4 million people worldwide. Hong Kong was the initial epicenter, with the virus quickly spreading to other parts of the world. Despite the advancements in medical science, the Hong Kong flu proved to be a formidable opponent. The virus's ability to mutate and adapt made it difficult for scientists to develop effective vaccines and treatments. This pandemic was a stark reminder of the relentless nature of influenza viruses and the potential devastation they can inflict. The rapid spread and high death toll underscored the need for constant vigilance and preparedness in the face of such threats. The Hong Kong flu showed us that even with modern medicine, pandemics can still cause significant death tolls. In 2014, West Africa was hit by the deadliest Ebola outbreak to date. This viral disease, known for causing severe fever, body aches, and in many cases internal and external bleeding, ravaged the region for 2 grueling years, from 2014 to 2016. The outbreak was unprecedented in scale and impact. It claimed the lives of thousands of people, leaving communities decimated and healthcare systems on the brink of collapse. The disease swept through Guinea, Sierra Leone, and Liberia with devastating speed, with the World Health Organization declaring the outbreak a public health emergency of international concern. The outbreak demonstrated the inherent challenges in controlling a disease in areas with weak health infrastructures. It also highlighted the importance of international cooperation in the face of such crises, as countries and organizations worldwide rallied to provide aid and resources. The West African Ebola outbreak was a stark reminder of the devastation that pandemics can cause. Since the 1980s, the world has been grappling with the HIV/AIDS epidemic. This disease, caused by the human immunodeficiency virus, has had a profound impact on the global population, affecting millions of individuals across continents. HIV/AIDS is unique in its nature as it primarily attacks the body's immune system, making the affected individuals susceptible to a multitude of infections and diseases. The epidemic has not only posed a significant health threat, but also had social, economic, and political repercussions. It has orphaned millions of children, destabilized nations, and hindered economic growth. Despite immense efforts in research and development, a definitive cure or vaccine still eludes us. In recent years, advancements have been made in managing the disease, allowing those affected to lead a relatively normal life. Yet the battle against HIV/AIDS is far from over. Although not a classic pandemic, HIV/AIDS has had a profound effect on global health. Most recently, the world has been dealing with the COVID-19 pandemic. Emerging in late 2019, this global crisis was triggered by the novel SARS-CoV-2 virus. Originating from a seafood market in Wuhan, China, it quickly spread across the globe, showing us just how interconnected our world truly is. The COVID-19 pandemic is a stark reminder of the devastating power of infectious diseases. It has altered our daily lives in unprecedented ways, with governments worldwide enforcing lockdowns, social distancing regulations, and mask mandates in a bid to contain the virus. From bustling cities to quiet towns, every corner of the globe has been touched by this pandemic. The virus has claimed millions of lives, leaving a trail of grief and loss. It has battered economies, leaving countless individuals unemployed, businesses shuttered, and industries in shambles. Yet it has also sparked a global race to develop vaccines, resulting in groundbreaking scientific achievements in record time. From healthcare to education, from travel to the workplace, COVID-19 has reshaped our world. It has highlighted social inequalities, exposed the fragility of our healthcare systems, and underscored the importance of global cooperation in the face of a common enemy. The COVID-19 pandemic reminds us that the threat of pandemics is ever present in our interconnected world. It underscores the importance of vigilance, preparedness, and global cooperation in navigating these challenging times and those yet to come. So, those were the 10 worst pandemics in history, each leaving a significant mark on humanity. From the third cholera pandemic originating in India, to the globally devastating COVID-19 pandemic, we've seen the immense impact of these health crises. They remind us of the importance of preparedness, resilience, and scientific advancement. Let's continue learning from our past to better navigate our future. Remember to subscribe for more historical insights, and as always, stay curious and informed.